I hope you felt that I always felt, what can we do best to move forward? I mean, I treated Hakeem the way I wanted to be treated. I'd tell him things we were doing throughout, so he never was questioned. I wanted to bring the body back differently. We created a select committee on China. I changed the Intel committee. They just came back from MIT where they all had bipartisan briefing on AI and.
Some Republicans are even pushing in the opposite direction. In a Senate Agriculture Committee hearing last month, Ranking Member Senator John Boozman said that SNAP benefits and funding levels are unsustainable and criticized the recent increase in SNAP benefits. The total SNAP program cost is now nearly double what it was 5 years ago. Last month, Representative Mike Gaetz published a letter of 5 other members of the far-right House Freedom Caucus advocating for increasing requirements for SNAP recipients. Despite that, House Republicans will reevaluate SNAP benefits as part of the Farm Bill process. And New Jersey has already taken steps to boost SNAP benefits in the state by increasing the minimum benefit to $100 per household. It's a lot more than a national minimum of $23 and is almost double the minimum payment of $50 that the state set last year. Maryland also passed legislation late October to increase minimum SNAP payment to $40 a month in households with anyone over the age of 62. And according to the Hill, West Virginia lawmakers have introduced at least 5 SNAP-related bills since last year. These include a proposal to increase SNAP benefits for pregnant people and families with children by at least as much as the emergency allotments paid. So folks, I do believe that President Biden will send out more stimulus payments for the end of this year. First of all, lawmakers are now saying that Joe Biden does not want to reach an agreement on Social Security reform. It's a huge issue that could affect millions of seniors and retirees. The SA has released an updated schedule for checks. And one of the leaders of the Bipartisan Senate Working Group that is focused on extending Social Security recently accused Biden of not engaging with them. It comes as they scramble for a way to keep the vital program solvent in past years. Senators Bill Cassidy and Angus King said this month that conversations are ongoing to reform the Social Security program, but there has been barely a word since. And several senators involved in the issue told Fox that they have not heard any updates in weeks. Cassidy also said that the bill and Biden's apparent unwillingness to meet is what's holding the group from publicly moving forward. The president had previously accused Republicans of wanting to cut Social Security and Medicare, a claim that has been denied by the GOP. Even as Senate aide told Fox, there has been multiple requests from both sides of the aisle to meet with President Biden, and there have not been anything yet. The aide stressed that the group was bipartisan, and its membership is in the double digits. Mitt Romney shared his thoughts on the issue. He stated it's one of the topics he'd like to see addressed because we're not seeing cuts for anybody that's in retirement or near retirement, and that's clear. He doesn't want that. Make sure that we have a system from a 25% cut, he said. And when a trust fund runs out in about a decade, it's our top priority. And Social Security checks for April are scheduled to go out. Payments are being distributed on a weekly basis, with payments going out on the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th Wednesdays of every month, depending on your date of birth. If you received Social Security before May 1997, or if you're receiving both Social Security and SSI, then here it is, because you will receive Social Security payments on April 3rd, and SSI was paid out March 31st. Because one of the biggest unknowns since the Federal Reserve started its historic rate hike campaign is how many jobs could be lost from the central bank's deliberate effort to slow down the economy. So far, the labor market has stayed white hot, with unemployment hovering at a half-century low. But Federal Chair Jerome Powell's acknowledgement on Wednesday is that the banking sector meltdown could lead to tighter credit conditions for households and businesses. Big news has been announced, and there are new proposals currently on the table. It would make a dramatic positive impact for the Social Security people. Joe Biden is making a big decision on this in order to try to avoid Social Security cuts for all recipients. Top senators for both parties are working to save Social Security benefits. Everyone in D.C. knows that Social Security is in trouble. They only have to listen to the federal government and the program's trustees. In the latest report, the trustees projected that Social Security's combined trust funds is already running out of money, and by 2034, the program's done. But some in Washington are working on solutions to prevent the program from becoming insolvent. One of them, Senate Republican Bill Cassidy, recently revealed what he called a big idea in a webcast hosted by the Bipartisan Policy Center that could roughly save 75% of the program's projected shortfall. The proposal is to create an investment fund that's completely separate from Social Security's current trust funds. This new investment fund would invest money in the stock market, where Social Security trust funds currently put money in treasury bills or cash. Now, what I mean is that he called Social Security's current approach the Silicon Valley Bank of pension funds, a reference to the failed bank that was acquired by the First Citizens Bank. He argued that this federal program is the worst investment strategy you can have right now. The separate fund isn't really a new idea, though, because he pointed to other funds, including the Canada Plan and Ontario Pensions Plan for teachers, that were in bad shape financially but became solvent by using a market-based strategy. There are some details remaining to be worked out. For instance, some people think the proposed plan will be a gap stop to guarantee that if they will lose money if the stock market underperforms. Cassie said the participation is now needed from both Democratic and Republican leaders to take action for Social Security. Even though the President and Congress have limited options for preserving Social Security, they can either raise additional money, reduce benefits, or do both. Because President Biden has been adamantly against any reduction in benefits. Even Senator Cassidy said that it's not right to do that. Steep benefit cuts are on the way if nothing is done. Because of this, Americans who have retired yet should save as much as they can in retirement accounts to get things ready for the financial shortfall. And Senator Cassidy stated in the Bipartisan Policy Center that it's going to take a while and take both sides to get this deal done.
Kind of taking it on the chin, particularly at the gas pump or even at the grocery store. So any little bit.
Now, what we're also going to say is that all the programs have represent the largest modern U.S. experiment in unrestricted cash payments, with more than 12,000 Californians expected to receive more than $180 million in public and private funds. Nowhere else have so many guaranteed income pilot programs launched at the same place. Keep that in mind, folks, because a new advocacy group actually doesn't want to let Republican lawmakers who oppose student loan forgiveness off of the hook. This Thursday, a nonprofit called Protect the Borrowers Action released an ad that criticized 13 Republicans and who voted back-to-back student debt relief. At the end of June this month and next month as well for August, the Supreme Court has struck down Biden's plan to cancel up to $20,000 in student debt for the federal borrowers. It came after both the House and the Senate passed a bill to take back Biden's debt relief that the president ultimately vetoed. So while Biden has announced a new plan to get borrowers relief during a different law, it's called the Higher Education Act, many Republican lawmakers don't even want to actually be carried on this. Biden acknowledged that delivering relief through the Higher Education Act will take some time because it requires the policy to go through a negotiated rulemaking process, which includes hearings and public commitment. Still, payments are scheduled to resume in October, but still, with interest accruing again in September, and while the Education Department announced a 12-month ramp on payments after the repayment starts, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez is worried. Folks, more and more checks are expected to arrive for the Americans throughout the summer and fall. Lawmakers are agreeing to provide the low income with extra financial relief, and relief may either be in the form of a one-time check or direct deposit. But now, 2 rebate checks are going to be for tax policies. These checks are typically sent out after individuals file their annual tax returns and determined to be eligible for a refund or credit. The specific eligibility criteria for tax rebates is depending on tax lawmakers and regulations in the country. A large number of states have announced they will be mailing a deposit